creative living, utilizing today's technology with the best of the past to bring you innovative ideas and up-to-date information for creative lifestyles in today's active world. With your host, Sheryl Borden.
Thanks so much for joining me today for Creative Living. We're going to learn how to do punch art. We'll discuss how to take care of jewelry and show how to make a custom upholstered headboard. One of my guests is Diane Tunnell, and she's an independent demonstrator with Stampin' Up. Diane's going to show how to use various paper punches to create handcrafted, one-of-a-kind cards. And she'll also show other projects that demonstrate punch art. Diane lives in Clovis, New Mexico. Another guest is Christina Rachel, and she's a jewelry designer, and she's going to show us how to take care of jewelry, whether it's sterling silver, gold, base metal, or even leather and gemstones. Her company is Rachel Clare Collection, and she's from San Jose, California. And we'll begin the show today with Rebecca Peck, and she's with the Upholstery Studio in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania. This company makes kits for headboards, tuffets, cornices, and other do-it-yourself projects. Rebecca's going to show how to make a beautiful custom upholstered headboard. Rebecca, thank you so much for being here. I've really always admired people who know how to upholster or make slip covers or make beautiful cornice boards or headboards. But to a beginner, it's kind of overwhelming to know what supplies you need, where you get everything. You all have kind of come up with a solution, haven't you?
We have. I think our collections and our kits really make it easy for the first-time upholsterer and furniture builder to make a really great project.
And so talking about the collections, you have several headboard collections. I'll try to show these.
Yeah, we actually have 5. So depending on what shape headboard you want, whether or not you want a border, we've got lots of different choices, and they can all be made to whatever size you need, twin, queen, or king. And in each collection is the DVD that shows you step-by-step how to do your project, all of the instructions, and even the patterns to cut out your fabric, cut out your wood, your foam, etc.
Gosh, it's hard to decide which is my favorite. I thought I knew, but now I'm
They're
liking
all
all
pretty.
of them.
Yes.
They're all pretty. And then you mentioned a kit. This will tell us how to do it, but you know, depending on where you live, you may not have access to everything that is required for doing a project.
Right.
So you've solved that too.
Yes, instead of going to a bunch of different stores, we also sell the kits that include everything you need to make your headboard.
Which is what we're showing
And
here.
that's, yeah,
And,
so it would be your wood, your foam.
oh, the wood? Everything comes in it.
Everything is in it, yes, exactly. Even the screws.
Okay. Well, I think that is especially good for people like me who don't want to have to make several stops to find it. And so really, we're just in charge of our fabric then,
Yeah,
aren't we?
you're in charge of selecting the shape you want and what fabric you want, and the wood is even cut to the shape that you need, so you don't even have to cut
I
the
wouldn't
wood.
know what to do with that either.
Yeah.
Okay, this is a headboard, as we can see back here, and you've partially put it together, but there's a few things you wanted to make us aware of.
Yeah, we just kind of wanted to show you exactly how this gets built. So you've got your wood, it's cut to the
Already
shape.
cut, I like that.
You take your pattern and you trace around it with the marker, and that's where you put your foam.
Oh,
So you
okay.
would apply your foam, put your Dacron on top, staple that in place.
And the foam comes in like in a square, and then we'd cut it to fit the shape.
Actually, the foam is already cut.
Oh, that's even better. Okay. That's
Easy
perfect.
peasy. So then, once you get the foam down in the middle here, you're going to put this fabric on, your
Okay.
center fabric. And you're just going to put that on with a staple gun. Make sure it's nice and tight. Doing
Get
it
right up
backward.
close to
Get
it.
right up
Yeah.
close to that edge. Kind of make sure it's even all the way around.
Keep smoothing
All right,
it.
keep smoothing it out. And then you're going to put on your border. So first you're going to apply your piping.
The cording or piping.
Yeah, so you just staple that into place. And you can do the really big piping as well, if you want a little more dramatic look. Then you're going to put on your border fabric, and you can, if you want, go ahead and pre-gather that.
Oh,
If you have a
that would make it
gathering
more
foot on your
even, I
machine.
guess.
Or you could just do it by hand
hand.
as you're stapling.
Oh.
This is a little faster, I think.
Uh-huh.
So you're going to staple that on, and you're going to also staple a tack strip on top of that. It just gives it a nice clean edge.
Oh, okay.
Then you're going to put your foam down, your Dacron, staple that both sides, And then you're just going to pull this over and staple that around the back.
And you pull it really tight. That's what gives it that really professional look, isn't
Yeah,
it?
exactly. And then if you really want to give it the final detail, you can put piping along this back edge as well. It's not on this one, but it's on this one here.
Oh, let's tilt this just a little bit, if we can see it or not. Oh.
So that gives it a nice
So
finish
this is
touch.
exactly what you were making, and then we add the legs. And
Then you
this
just
all
put your
comes
legs
with
on.
it in the kit.
All in the kit.
Okay.
The hardest part is picking out the fabric.
Well, yeah, that's true, but there are so many beautiful choices
are.
anymore. And we could make twin, queen, king,
Yes,
all
any
sizes.
size. You could do, if you wanted to do a quilted front on this, you could quilt your fabric before you put it on.
Well, that's a good idea, or it even could be a good way if you had a wall hanging that maybe you were tired of as a hanging, but you might could incorporate it into your
Yeah,
headboard.
exactly. Or maybe you have an old quilt that is not in the best of shape. An old chenille bedspread with the big flower in the
Oh,
middle
wouldn't
would
that be
pretty.
beautiful?
Yes. If you don't want to make the piping, you can use the braid with the flange on it already.
Lots of different ideas. Your creativity can come into play, can't it?
That's right.
Well, thank you so much for showing us how easy this really is to do.
No problem. Thank you for having us, Cheryl.
Christina, thanks so much for letting me model one of your beautiful pieces of jewelry. And you're wearing the one I really love because I like that clear quartz is what it is. But you know, regardless of how much you love jewelry, it has to be taken care of just like pets and kids and everything else.
Yes, I thought it was important to discuss taking care of your jewelry because you spend a lot of money on it and you want it to last.
And even if it's costume jewelry, we still want to keep it looking good as long as
Definitely.
possible.
Yeah.
Okay, let's start with the silver. Is it called
Sterling
white
silver.
gold or sterling silver?
Sterling silver tarnishes fairly rapidly, so it's difficult to keep clean. But there are ways to keep tarnish from happening. Tarnish is when it turns black and kind of dull and dingy, and not shiny and pretty. So you want things that make silver tarnish are sulfur in the air. Sulfur comes from just pollution in the air. If you eat breakfast and you have eggs, that can get on your silver,
So
and
don't
it
put
will
your
tarnish
jewelry
it.
on.
Hairspray, body lotion, perfume. I mean, the list goes on and on. But you can keep it looking really pretty by wiping it with just a dry cloth when you come home. Take it off. It's the last thing you should put on, and the first thing you should take off.
I see.
And when you take it off, you wipe it with a just clean, damp or dry cloth, and then you make sure to put it into its own individual baggie.
Oh dear,
With-
I'm guilty of not doing that.
With a tarnish strip. This is called a anti-tarnish strip. Lots of companies sell them. They're really easy to find.
How long would one of these last?
About, depending how dirty your silver is or how often you wear it, between 2 to 6 months.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and they're not very expensive. So you want to slip that into its own little individual baggie with your piece of jewelry, and that's how you should store it.
I've got a job ahead of me this afternoon.
If your sterling is dirty, you want to wash it in some a mild dishwashing soap like Dawn or Ivory. Make sure it's non-phosphate. Again, Dawn or Ivory are easy to remember and they work really well. Tarnish beyond just kind of grime is when you use a polishing cloth. Sunshine cloths are really good. You'll find any kind of silver polishing cloth. If you have pieces of jewelry at home that are almost all black. You should really seek professional help.
And
they
do
have
you take it to a jeweler?
A jeweler, yeah.
Okay.
It can be just a jeweler in the mall or your hometown jeweler on Main Street. It doesn't really matter. They all know how to handle it. They'll usually dip it in a jewelry solution. You do have to be careful cleaning it at home with gemstones. Some gemstones like pearls, opals, and turquoise are very sensitive. So you don't want to get them, you don't want to submerge them in the dishwashing soap. So this is we're just talking about the metals. And if you were going to clean, a chain, you would just hold the gemstone above
so that you don't accidentally get anything on it. Oh, that makes sense.
Also, one more tip is to make sure it's completely dry before you put it away, because moisture and sulfur are contributing factors to tarnish.
Okay, good tips
That's the
there.
most difficult one. We're going to talk about 14 karat gold fill and gold plating. Gold fill and gold plate are both 14 karat gold usually that's heated and bonded with heat and pressure onto a base metal, so which could be brass, mainly brass. So the thing with gold plate, I don't use gold plate. It's very microscopic and it's very easy to wear off and chip off. Gold fill has...
So the life of it's not long.
Very good, yeah. Gold fill has 50 to 100 times more gold, and it's 5% of the total metal weight. So it's a thicker layer, it's harder to rub off, but it can tarnish and it can rub off and it can expose the brass underneath. So again, you don't want to use really any solvents. You want to be very careful. You want to wipe it with a cloth when you get home. Individual baggie.
And do you put these little...
No, those are just for silver.
Just for silver, okay.
Yeah. 14 karat gold is very easy. It's gold. There's many different carats. 24 karat is considered pure gold. It's kind of too soft for jewelry making. That's why they add alloys like nickel, copper, silver to make the gold stronger, so that you can wear it for jewelry. But again, it's all metal, so it won't wear off or rub off. You can use jewelry cleaners on it. Again, I would wipe it with a damp cloth after you wear it. An individual baggie. Again, it's very important that everything is dry when you put it in that baggie. If you want to, you can, those little silica packets that come in shoes. You can put those in your jewelry box, and it will absorb any kind of ambient moisture.
Now, do you mean open that little baggie and sprinkle 2 or 3,
No,
but
just
use
put
the
that
whole
baggie.
bag in?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Yeah, I always throw those away too.
Yeah, you should collect them in a little jar.
I need to.
Here's base metal. This is the base metal chain I use in my jewelry. It's basically copper and brass and a couple other things, maybe some nickel. But the base metal chain is kind of a catch-all phrase for non-precious metals in jewelry, so costume jewelry. It tarnishes very easily, it gets dinged up very easily, but it's cheap and it's fun and it looks really pretty.
I like it.
Yeah, clean dry cloth and individual baggie.
I'm about to learn that.
Yes. And here are some cords. Jewelry is being made with leather and cords. This is one of my current lines, and this is actually one from
That's leather,
my
isn't
newest line, yeah. And also this bracelet I'm wearing is from that same line. I use leather. These are very delicate. You don't want to shower with them or really get them wet at all, because they can become brittle. They can discolor. So
keep all moisture away from these.
You can spot treat them with a Q-tip and some Dawn dish soap, water.
But just spot it if it's
there's
on
like
the
a
little
stain
cord.
but you want to kind of keep it careful. An individual baggie and put it away.
And maybe my next segment should be on where do you find those individual baggies at a good price.
Yes.
Well, it is important to take care of it, and I guess this proves that when you're buying the real gold, you're paying more for it, but the care is less because it's going to last a long time.
Yeah, and again, the individual baggies is important so that they don't mar each other. All metal, gold as well, it can scratch very easily, and the other jewelry in your jewelry box is just gonna, keep hitting, and so you want to take care of it. You spend your money on it and take care of it well.
Well, thank you so much. You've really pointed out a lot of things I need to do for sure. Thank you.
Thank you.
Diane, thank you so much for being with us today, and just looking at the samples of things that you brought that you're going to share some tips with. I just get so excited regardless of the holiday because I love to make cards and do scrapbooking, and when you can make things that are so unique, I think people love to receive them as gifts.
Oh yes, they do.
Do you have a favorite of what you like to do?
This is probably my favorite, the punch art. There's so many different things that you can do with it, so many different applications. I have fun with it.
And this is what you're talking about now.
Right.
The little basket itself is made differently, but
Right.
this is what you're going
The
to show us
rabbit,
today.
the little bunny is what we're going to work on today, yes.
Because this one right here doesn't have the bunny
That's
on it.
right.
So
We need to make
that's
one.
what we're going to make. And I love the embossed look of the little Easter baskets.
Right.
This is darling.
Yeah, just a little
Could
gift
fill
box.
it with, you know, all kinds of goodies or a gift itself.
Right.
Love the little frog guy on there. Cute. And everybody needs cards for
exactly.
whatever occasion. And so this is the punch art that you're
Right.
talking about. So
Yes.
cute. And this top part is
Is the punch art, yes.
And you put it on little, well, these are
little
stamps.
treats.
I mean,
exactly. Little
straws that you
Right, the milk straws. I thought that would go well with the cow. And then just some Twizzlers with the Santa Claus on top.
cute. And what about these?
These, the box itself was done with an envelope punch board, which does punch out little areas so that it can fold in like it has.
And then you tied
Right.
it with ribbon.
Exactly.
Now, what about this little flower?
The flower is done
leaves?
with a die that runs through a big shop machine to cut it out, and then the leaves were done with punches, with the different punches that I have.
Well, I'm ready to see how to make the bunny rabbit.
Well, the first thing I do with the punch art is to punch out all the pieces that I need, and it can take several different punches. Here I used, this is for his head, and I used an ornament punch. It's a Christmas ornament. And I usually turn the punches over on the back to use it so that I can see what I'm punching out.
Well, see, that's interesting because the punches are expensive.
They are.
So it's good that you can use them for multiple ways.
Yes, yes, so many of them you can. I used the extra large oval, which is this punch, for his body, and then just a large oval for his feet and legs, or for his ears and his legs.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then a small oval for his hands. And also I wanted to show you here, I have a pink piece of cardstock that I want to use for the inside of his ears.
Right.
And sometimes the punches are not exactly what you need.
Oh.
So I did punch out with this oval the inside of the ear, but when I put it on top of that, it will just cover it
big.
because it's the same size. What can be done with these punches, I'm going to take just a little dab of glue and put it on here to give me a handle.
Oh.
So that I can put it back into the punch itself. There's nothing to hold on to if I don't.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
And when I put it back in there, I can cut it down just a little bit.
Oh,
I still
just-
have that same shape, but then I can cut a portion of it off. And now
and
I
that didn't
have,
even matter that you'd glued that.
right, and now I have the inside of his ear.
Good idea.
Many of the punches, you know, like you say, they are expensive, but many of them can be used in so many different ways. It's
see.
not just for one item. After I punched everything out, I like to take the color of the cardstock, I'd like to take the ink and sponge around the edge. It just gives your project a little bit more dimension. It is flat paper, but that adds a little bit of dimension to
think
it
it
so it doesn't look quite
Is that
so
called
flat.
distressing? Or
I don't think so. I
Not
think it's just highlighting the
just
paper.
highlighting.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Now, to actually make the bunny itself, I have to use a pair of tweezers because so many of these
I
pieces
know it.
are
And the
so
eyes
small.
and cheeks, they're
Right.
just too tiny.
The eyes, I have sponged around the edge with a bashful blue just to give it a little bit of color. And this came from a bird builder punch. It's the wing of the bird. And it has sort of a teardrop shape to it, which I liked.
You know, I'm glad there's people like you that come up with these ideas. I could copy it once I see it. But
I do quite a bit of that myself. There's so
Good.
many things on Pinterest and there's so many patterns. And even with this bunny, I saw a bunny on Pinterest and I didn't have the punches that they had used. So I was able to go through and substitute and still make it look like a rabbit.
oh, I love the one that you've made.
put his little, these are just little circles. I used this owl punch and the 2 circles here, but you know, so many paper punches will punch out a
that's
circle
right.
for you, so you don't have to
Kind of
have.
improvise. Sometimes
Exactly.
it's fun to you look at the things you have that maybe you haven't used in a while.
Exactly. You can always improvise. That's the same thing with the bee card. A friend of mine made that card, and she looked it up and didn't have the punches, so hers looks a little different than what she saw on the internet, but it looks beautiful.
Oh, it's beautiful, right.
Now I'm going to put his little cheeks on here. It's a little bit bigger piece so I can get rid of the tweezers. And then I'll put his little nose.
Once you have one as a pattern,
It helps. It helps a great deal.
And it's faster. It's almost
It
like
really
an assembly
is.
line then, isn't it, if you built 2 or 3
Right.
at a time.
You also want to give him a little bit of personality. I have just a black felt tip pen here, and I'm giving him a few whiskers. You can just hand draw that on there, and that adds a little bit, gives him a little bit of
It
personality.
does. That's cute.
And then also I have a chalk marker. It's a white marker to give his eyes
the
some
little
highlights.
pupil.
And also his nose. It won't show up as much on his nose, but you know the highlights there when you look at him. For his ears, I'll put the pink.
The one that you sort of improvised
Exactly.
on. Yeah. It looks like you planned it that way. Sometimes I act like I had, even if
Exactly.
it was a mistake.
That's right. And then to put the rest of him together, we just need a little bit of glue. Go ahead and put it on here. You can put his ears, again, that's another way that you can kind of give him a little bit of personality. We might have the ear go off to the side, or you can make them just stand straight up. His body now will attach to that bottom part of the ornament punch. That's the nice thing about that. It has a nice shape, and then it has the area where we can go through and attach the body.
That actually looks like a spade, you know, like a card spade.
It does.
So
It does. You could use
could
that.
be. These are the
Now
legs.
his legs, exactly. I think maybe on the other one I put them in the front, but you know, this is one of the things that there's no right or wrong way. Also on his legs, just again to give him a little bit more, I put toes.
Toes,
And you don't have to be an artist to do that. Just, you know, draw
can
just
do
a little
that.
bit. Right. Now, I did not have a way to attach his hands, so I decided to give him a little sign to hold, and then I attached his hands to
with the
to
foam,
the sign,
adhesive.
yes.
Oh, I see, and that gives a dimension too.
right.
That you haven't
Using
used.
these, it just raises it up just a tiny bit, just a fraction. It sticks on the back, and then you peel that off.
I love those things.
And then I just glued his little hands to the sign.
Well, that's a good idea. So it's like he's holding his
It's
little
like he's
Happy
holding
Easter
it.
sign.
Yeah, we want his little fingers to be shown too. We need to draw those on, but I usually, even though it's a little bit more difficult to do it after it's on, I like to see which way I'm going to position it and then give him
That's
just a few little fingers.
And he goes, or she goes
Right,
on
and then
the
he
purple
just
basket.
goes on the basket. And you have here a nice little Easter gift for
cute.
someone. And he could go on a card, he could go on a scrapbook page. It doesn't have to be, you know, just for Easter.
Oh,
It
that's
could be
really
done for
cute.
any time.
Well, Diane, thank you so much for sharing some of your tips
Thank
with
you.
us. These look like they'd be fun to make.
They really are. Thank you very much.
I hope you enjoyed the show today. Next time on Creative Living, we'll learn about a gluten-free online food club. We'll discuss what you need to know before you travel and show you how to make some delicious salads using a variety of toppers. One of my next guests is the founder of an online resource for living gluten-free. She'll talk about all the options that are available in her box club, as well as explain why anyone would want to be gluten-free. Another guest will share some super tips for savvy travelers. She says that we should do a lot of research before undertaking a trip, and she'll explain why. And finally, we'll talk about the abundant selection of prepackaged salads now available in most supermarkets, as well as show us some of the add-ons that can be used, including croutons, tortilla strips, and wonton strips. All of these topics will be featured on the next Creative Living show. If you ever have comments or suggestions or ideas for shows, you can email me at sheryl.borden@enmu.edu. I'd also like to ask you to become a fan of Creative Living on Facebook. Just go to facebook.com and in the search window type in Creative Living with Sheryl Borden. Thanks so much. I hope you'll plan to join me next time for Creative Living.
We are very pleased to offer you a new booklet that accompanies this series of Creative Living. This booklet is titled the 6900 series, and it features a wonderful collection of ideas and information, and it's available free of charge on our website. Posted as a PDF file, you can simply download the entire booklet or just the segments you're most interested in. For your copy of this new booklet, go to our website at KENW.org and then click on Creative Living. Scroll down to the booklet section and you can click on this booklet or on any of the other booklets that we have available online. We also would like to invite you to sign up for our free e-newsletter. Just go to KENW.org and click on the Sign Up Now button. Thank you.